Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can do this video without talking about anybody's lisp, I should be okay. Happy June, friends! It's Pride Month, yay! Now, who wants to see a 6-year-old in a Speedo? Wait, what? Hey man, it's Pride Month. If you don't tolerate and appreciate children being used as sexual props, being exposed to BDSM and sexual perversion on American city streets, and taught that it's normal and safe to mutilate their bodies at a young age, you're probably a Nazi. If you tell your son he's a boy and not a girl like his public school teacher is telling him, you are not eligible for YouTube monetization. With YouTube's new rules against hate speech firmly in effect, I want to make a clear statement. I want to make it explicitly clear for my friends in the journalistic community that I am YouTube's biggest supporter, the biggest supporter on the entire internet of Gay Pride Month, of gay pride parades, and exposing kids to gay stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong, nothing antisocial, nothing perverse going on here. And I need all of you to smash that like button down below so we can collectively smash homophobia. Some of the things we'll see today would get your door knocked down by an FBI bearcat if you looked at them in a different context, but it's June and it's Pride Month, so that makes it all a-okay. In the words of my leading political inspiration, Mr. Fred Durst, everything is fucked and everybody sucks. And there will be an inordinate amount of chocolate starfishes in today's video. Today we are doing the Pride Month hit parade, all of the great stuff about Pride Month in just one video. We'll talk about the progressive and enlightening sexualization of kids going on at Pride marches. We'll talk about the Dresden-esque narrative carpet bombing our kids get from the mainstream media. We'll talk about a member of the journalistic community, a good liberal who got arrested yesterday for attempting to engage in sex acts with a child, and how the truth about gender conversion surgeries, the brutal and oftentimes disgusting truth, is being hid from people and being presented to children as if it's a great, happy, fun time, casual thing that you just do. All of this amazing, progressive, anti-fascist work ahead of us today. But first, if you're going to be looking at images of pride parades, it's probably not something you want your ISP knowing about. In all seriousness, regardless of what you're doing online, you need a VPN to protect yourself and keep yourself safe. That's why I recommend Virtual Shield's VPN technology. Facebook expects to face a massive fine of up to $5 billion from the Federal Trade Commission as a result of an investigation into their privacy policies. The probe centers around the violation of a 2011 agreement Facebook made with the FTC that required the social media giant to gain explicit consent from users to share their data. Are you surprised they may have violated that agreement? Once again, big data fails to protect its consumers' privacy. Why should we keep trusting them? Well, we shouldn't. And one way to fight back is by using a VPN to simply block your IP address from big data constantly spying and tracking you. Virtual Shield is my VPN of choice because it's the easiest and fastest VPN to use. Plus, they will never sell or share your data with anyone. Stop trusting free big data sites. Use a VPN and fight back. This month, Virtual Shield is offering a Father's Day special. 2 years of amazing VPN protection for over 60% off retail price. Plus, 20% off all premium add-ons, including IdentiSafe, Protection Plus, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans. World-class VPN protection for less than $1 a week. You probably lose that much in your couch cushions, for real. Sign up today, right now, for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield's VPN and see what the hype is about. You have nothing to lose. They're one of the easiest VPNs in the world to use, one of the fastest VPNs in the world, and their no-log policy protects their users from any data breaches. VirtualShield.com/allsup or hidewithjames.com for the special Father's Day 60% off deal. Check it out today. You know how the leftist media always uses that one certain pic of Charlottesville to slander everyone that was there as a supremacist neon Yahtzee? You know, the one with certain flags and certain creases still visible because it was just right out of the package? Isn't it funny how out of everyone who got doxxed for going to that event, nobody knows who that guy was? We all know the picture I'm talking about, of course. Now imagine from the left if there was a kill all men sign at a feminist rally. They'd probably make the same argument if they were even asked. The reasonable feminist would say that doesn't represent our views, anyone could come to our rally, it doesn't mean we agree with that, etc. That's assuming the corporate media would ever interrogate leftist protesters, which, I mean, come on. According to our totally honest friends in the media, this one image is enough to indict everyone who was at Charlottesville as a genocidal hate maniac. If that's the case, do the disturbing images we see from gay pride events across the country indict everyone at gay pride events as being a sexualized sexualizer of children, of being a child predator. Of course, I am a good liberal, and as a good liberal, I have no problem with children palling around with grown men in sex fetish outfits, or little boys being walked around at pride parades, eye level with naked men, or little boys being forced to dance and perform for the pleasure of these older men. Nothing wrong with that. That's what freedom means. Love is love. Love has no age, and there is nothing wrong with grown men walking around in assless chaps, walking around little kids, okay? This is not about sexualizing kids like right-wing bigots would tell you. This is about education and acceptance and tolerance. Ignore the right-wing, probably white supremacist propaganda. We liberals are not endorsing, not engaging in pedophilia, okay? That's not what we're doing. Crazy right-wingers are trying to scare you. And the fact that little boys are dancing sexually, shirtless in tight jeans, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. If you have a problem with that, you're probably a racist white man with a small penis who likes video games. This is real America, bigot. This is what democracy looks like. Love is love. That's what Ars Technica writer and good liberal Peter Bright argued on Twitter. There shouldn't be age of consent laws that separate children and adults from expressing their love for one another. Peter Bright is the same good liberal arrested yesterday for trying to solicit sex from a 7- and 9-year-old, and for admitting to undercover federal agents that he was in a sexual relationship with an 11-year-old child. Peter Bright, a tech reporter, political leftist, and living caricature, identified himself in his Twitter bio as Poly, Pan, and Pervy. He was busted after making arrangements to have sex with a 7-year-old child. He set up a meeting with what he thought was the child's mother, but was actually an undercover agent, and was arrested when he went to the location for the meetup. Hopefully, his final jail cell is wired for 220 volts. Good liberals love pride parades, but I love supporting pride through consumer transactions too. Thankfully, every major company in America changes their social media logos to signal their support for pride. We liberals really are fighting an uphill battle against the racist white hetero establishment. Thankfully, our scrappy team of underdogs has the NSA on our side too. Let's see, we liberals have every major corporation, big tech, every major media company, and literal intelligence agencies on our side. Yep. We really are the resistance. The real locus of power, the real people pulling the strings, are people like Red Elephants and James Alsop on YouTube. That's who we're resisting. People were doxxed, fired, harassed, lost their families, lost their jobs, and even committed suicide after media harassment over Charlottesville. But what is being done about the people who bring their children to sexualized events like this and expose them to things that would otherwise be considered child abuse? They're celebrated in the media as heroes. The other element to this, either insidious or genius, depending on your perspective, is how well the LGBT movement has been marketed into the mainstream and towards children as well. I was at the mall yesterday, and there's a store there called Children's Place, which sells children's clothes. And they had a display out front advertising their clearance sale, and the display was these big cardboard rainbows, and there were rainbow logos on everything. Without any context, you would think nothing of it. It's summer, kids like bright colors, rainbows are a shape and pattern usually associated with children in summer, so what? Who cares? Then you remember it's June, and it's Gay Pride Month, and the rainbow has become the universal symbol of LGBT politics. Is the Children's Place using the rainbow pattern and logo as a signal that they're on board with the LGBT political agenda? I genuinely don't know. You don't know anymore. If I shop there, will I be financially supporting foundations and funds that aim to inundate my kids with LGBT political propaganda? I can't buy my daughter clothing with rainbows or unicorns because they've both been turned into symbols of implicit support for the LGBT political agenda. And I think those symbols were chosen on purpose because they're taking something innocuous and innocent and associated with children and giving it a deeper meaning, giving it a more insidious, deeper meaning. They're intentionally turning innocent children's symbols into the iconography of a hypersexualized and self-destructive lifestyle. 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, it would be laughable to suggest that the target of the LGBT political agenda was children. It's a really uncomfortable and frankly satanic thing to even consider, but we have to deal with what's in front of us. We have to deal with the evidence we're given. If it were just the corporate incursion, you could say these fears are unfounded, and this is just the free market at work. These companies are trying to identify a new market and take their money. But it's not just the corporations. It's coming from academia. It's coming from the media and the corporate world. In other words, the trifecta of modern American power. The media holds up people like Jazz Jennings as heroes for our kids. I'm going to be very clear, YouTube, Carlos, I'm not harassing anybody. Viewers, don't say mean things about anybody online. Be nice online. But TLC is marketing this show towards children, glorifying life as a transgender teen. They're presenting it as all sunshine and smiles and happiness and sharp, witty one-liners with your parents. When things go bad, as they do in every teen's life, it's never anything that a little bit of hard work and moxie can't solve, which, as we know, is not entirely realistic for people who get Jazz's surgery. With a complication rate over 30%, male-to-female sex change surgery is far from a science. And those complications, pretty severe stuff. Watch my video about that, linked down below. Additionally, the suicide rate for pre- and post-op transgender individuals is virtually identical, which indicates to me that these surgeries don't actually make people's lives better. The identity questions and issues are still there. Why isn't TLC mentioning these facts when they push transgenderism as a cool thing to kids? Why are they mentioning the neovaginal hairballs, the cancerous necrotic discharge, and the anal fistulas? Of course, as a good liberal, I believe that all of these studies and personal accounts from doctors and ER staff are just right-wing propaganda. It's also totally normal and healthy to have 11-year-old Desmond is Amazing, the drag kid, dance at strip clubs for adult men. It's totally normal, tolerant, cool, progressive, and great to have this child dressed up in provocative costumes, doing striptease routines, and having adult gay men throw dollar bills at him. And I am a huge fan of Vice Media doing reports on other boys from Canada this time, dressed up in sexualized outfits as the next generation of drag. That's just simply epic. I love Pride Month so much, it's my favorite. Remember, the media are the good guys, and reporters that talk about woke LGBTQ politics never actually go and try to rape kids. In Texas, as we mentioned earlier on this channel, 2 performers in the Drag Queen Story Hour events were discovered to be child predators. That investigation wasn't done by the media, it wasn't done by the library, it wasn't done by the police, it had to be done by activist parent groups. Even in cases where the Drag Queen Story Hour performers are not convicted child predators, these events are still deeply harmful to the kids forced to attend them. The books read at these events are selected specifically because of their anti-family or anti-white message. Kids learn morals through stories. It's part of why parents take their kids to Sunday school. And there's no question that children inundated with gender-confusing anti-white messaging are going to internalize those values. Good liberals say, hey man, if you don't like that event, just leave it alone. Let them do them and you do you, man. Have good liberals ever shown that same laissez-faire consideration towards people whose politics they disagree with? The same good liberals telling you just to ignore the Drag Queen Story Hour in your community are the same people that go and mass report posts on social media, try to get YouTube accounts shut down. They're the same people that organize boycotts of Tucker Carlson's advertisers for continuing to run ads on his show. These live and let live man type people really only ever seem to apply that in one direction. They only ever seem to try to use that to play on your innate laissez-faire psychology to convince you to not take political action that would benefit you. Isn't it funny how that works? The thing is, I wouldn't care about Pride Month if it was just people doing their thing. I wouldn't care if it wasn't being shoved down my throat. And I wouldn't care if it wasn't being used as an excuse to groom and manipulate children. But it is. That's the sickest part about this. This isn't just about consenting adults doing what they want in the privacy of their own home. No, it's about consenting adults being able to do whatever they want to innocent, non-consenting children that can't consent because they're children. And it's the giant, powerful corporations that control this country's policy standing in the background applauding every step of the way. It's the perversion of children's clothes and toys into symbols of LGBT politics. It's the studded, leather, rhinestone emblazoned boot on your neck, getting you fired from your job and kicked out of polite society if you don't thank them for the privilege. Hello, Epic Department. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you sign up down below, the link to whatsonpolitics.com, for my twice-a-month newsletter. Absolutely free, no obligations or anything. Go and get that. You'll get it twice a month, as my videos and my editorials that I write exclusively for them. And also, they're giving away a free GoPro Hero 7 to one of the first 5,000 signups. Rules for that are on the site down below, so check that out as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another video. Thanks.